We're live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Homestead HQ, where we talk about homesteading and preparedness. I am Shelly.
I'm Jason, and tonight Chuck Peoples with Homestead Medical is going to be on here. Chuck is having technical difficulties right now, so luckily nobody's bleeding to death, or they might have a problem. But yeah, Chuck will be on here in just a little bit when he gets his issues resolved, and we're going to talk to Chuck about his upcoming workshop on Friday, and we'll talk to him about that and everything. And Chuck is here
finally.
Yes. All right, Chuck is here. Nobody died. So
nobody died.
Yeah.
Oh, it was close. This computer almost died.
All right, Chuck, we're going to run over some festival stuff, and then we're going to have you talk about your workshop that you're doing this coming up Friday, the 25th in Bowling Green, Kentucky at the festival. Shelly, shoot out some stuff on the festival.
So Friday before the festival, we have some workshops. Chuck right here is teaching one of those workshops about wound care, that kind of thing. What else do we have? We have an all-day canning class that day. Chuck's class is actually 4 hours and it's in the morning. But we have an all-day canning class that day. We have an all-day ham radio class that day. And then we have a half day after Chuck's class, herbal class. So you can find those on KentuckySustainableLiving.com. You can find all the information about that on there. So for the festival, I actually had one of my friends just called me and said, "Can you give me the rundown about your festival?" So I'm going to give you all the Michelle notes. So Saturday and Sunday, we have several speakers coming out, and we'll go through that list more intensively later on in the show. But we have several speakers coming out. The doors are going to open at 8:30 in the morning both days, and then speakers will start around 10. We have a bunch of vendors set up. We have vendors all down on the arena floor and vendors up on the concourse. So you're going to be able to check out both of those. We have 4 of those booths on the concourse are going to be demonstration booths for the whole festival. We've got a guy that's doing canning demonstrations. We've got Yoda from Grumpy Acres that's doing fermenting demonstrations. We've got Flomaton Famous that's going to be doing tree grafting demonstrations. And then we have Leslie Gossett, our herbal chick. She's going to be doing herbal demonstrations. You'll actually be able to do tincture make and takes at her booth. It's really cool. We've also got William Bond that's going to be coming in and teaching composting. We've got a butcher from Yardbird that's going to be doing chicken processing demonstrations both Saturday and Sunday. So if you don't catch it one day, you can catch it the next day. Jason, I always point the wrong way. Jason, right there, he's going to be doing a session with William Bond where they're going to talk about all of the things that they witnessed and participated in when they were in Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina.
And leading into that, read that comment. Since we talked about North Carolina and Tennessee, read the comment that you got just a few minutes ago on your page.
So do you want me to finish the festival stuff or do you want me to read it now?
It doesn't matter. Do whichever one you want.
Let me finish my festival spiel. So you can go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com, and right now you can get your tickets for $25. They're going to be $35 at the door, but if you go to the website right now and get your tickets and use email 25 as your coupon code, that's email 25, you can get your tickets for $25. Kids 17 and under are free. There's going to be food that you can purchase on site. The WKU is going to open up their concession stand. And we're actually going to have a few homesteaders are going to be offering breakfast on both mornings, but that will probably shut down somewhere around 9:30. And then you can get lunch from the WKU concession stand. A little bit later, we'll talk about our dinner that we're having Saturday night. We'll fill you in on that. Okay. So I opened up my YouTube studio, which it lists all my comments that I get on my different videos that I do. And so when Jason went to Eastern Tennessee and worked with Grindstone Ministries for a whole week. Like he was out there from, would you drive out Monday and come home the following Sunday?
Yeah.
So he was gone all week out there volunteering and helping out in Eastern Tennessee. And along with that, William Bond was out there helping with Grindstone Ministries, and he went further into North Carolina, Western North Carolina. So when Jason came back, him and I got on our podcast, and what happened was I interviewed him pretty much about what he saw with his own eyes, like what was going on out there, the things he saw, the things that, he saw happening, just all of that. And he even went, didn't you do a flyover in a helicopter and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
A small flight in a helicopter.
So we put that podcast out this last week, and I got a comment from a woman, and she said, it's just kind of comical. She says, "You've been watching too much Fox News, false information. Listen to the governor of that state." Jason, would you like to respond to that with the factual things that you saw firsthand?
First off, I don't watch mainstream media. I trust TikTok more than Fox News, honestly. And everything I said on that, I will stand behind it. What I told on that podcast was either from my own eyes or from 2 to 3 witnesses that I know personally that will not lie to me about stuff. A lot of stuff, William told me a lot of stuff. William has no inkling and no reason to lie about the stuff that he saw. And his team, I stood there and talked to him several times, and his team had the exact same story. There's nothing that I told in there that is false or untrue. The mainstream media is the one that's telling you the lies about that. So you would be far better off to trust TikTok than anything else. The helicopter pilots, they told me personally, they're like, we are being grounded at certain times and we cannot fly in certain spaces for some reason. That's straight from the pilot and the navigator telling me that. That's not like Joe's mom told me from Sally and it went through a telephone. It's straight from the guy in the helicopter. I'm standing by the helicopter and he's telling me this. They have no reason to lie about it. Everything I said in that is factual. The mainstream media is the one that's lying to you, and the governors are the ones that are lying to you if they're saying nothing's going on. And I don't want people to forget about that. And yeah, Jody, like weapons junkie, he can tell you he's been there, been through it. What I said on the podcast is the truth. Jody's seen a bunch of this stuff because I know he's been there.
Well, you also know, just to go down a little farther south in Florida, they cut off last week collecting death information on any deaths from the hurricane in Florida, the second one. And on this one, I don't know if they've cut it off yet or not, but I know my source, and this is FEMA, and this is directly from FEMA. And if that woman wants a comment, go ahead. I'll show her the freaking report. But they are not collecting any more death information. In other words, statistics relating to the event. So that should tell you something too, because they haven't even finished the search and rescue portions of it.
Yeah, they haven't even found all the bodies, right?
Yeah.
They don't even know who's missing.
No, they don't. They're still trying to, they're finding people who were reported missing in other relief areas and things like that, but they're still doing that. And they do need equipment. They're without equipment. There's a bunch of SAW crews working down there who are going to help people on their own, volunteering, who have no medical equipment. I just sent down 25 kits, basically stop the bleed kits, tourniquets, pressure dressings, wound packing gauze, so they can attach to the saws, so they'll have something. Because Evan Dixon's wife, Hannah, from Radio Made Easy, notified me and let me know that they didn't have anything. So I sent 25 kits down.
Yeah. So, and going back to that comment, I stand behind everything I said. It's factual information. It's stuff that I saw with my own eyes and or 2 to 3 witnesses told me firsthand. So,
well, I've heard and talked to people on the ground, people who were in the same group as you, Jason, Brandon from 3H Survival. I even talked to Bob, Bug Out Bob. I messaged TJ. He messaged me back. There's just there's a lot of things that are going on that people are not reporting factually.
I don't know.
Yeah. So now that we got that cat skinned, Chuck, well, here, hold on real quick. Two of our sponsors for the show, VacMaster, VacMasterFresh.com. Go check out VacMasterFresh.com. Use the code Homestead. You're going to save 15% off your order. And they've got a fall hunting promo going right now where you can get additional money off on the chamber sealers and the butchering knives. Then also Signature Solar. Come to the festival this weekend. You can talk to some of the guys that work at Signature Solar. They're going to have their products in their booth, and they're also going to have a coupon code just for the festival. But if you want to buy right now, the code is Homestead to save some money on your order. So now let's get down. Chuck, yeah. Friday, you're going to be teaching a class. What class or what workshop are you going to be teaching Friday?
So I'm doing a workshop on advanced wound care and closure. We're going to talk about all the things you need to do to take care of a wound properly if you can't get to conventional medical care, or you're going to be delayed getting to conventional medical care. Everything from disinfection to debridement, and then how to close it. I'm going to show a few different techniques of closing, including skin stapling. But, a big part of it, that's the easy part. It's everything you do prior to that, and also evaluating the wound, whether or not it needs to be closed, delayed closure, or we're going to leave it open and we're going to pack it and let it heal from the inside out with wet to dry dressings and clean it every day.
Yeah. And that's a lot of stuff. Like a lot of people, they look at the suturing and that's one of the things you've talked about it in all the classes that I've taken with you and times we've talked about it. It's like a lot of people are like, as soon as you get cut, it's like we need to clean that thing out and fasten it back together. It's not always the case, right?
No. There's a lot more with it. You can't. It's not, you've got to evaluate the wound and see what's going on. How much debris did you have in there? How was it cut? What environment were you on? Were you underwater? Were you in dirty water? Stuff like that. There's a lot of things you have to look out for. And tissue on the outside is much different from tissue on the inside. So you have to evaluate that tissue to see, is there going to be viable tissue there? Do we need to debride that tissue? In other words, remove that tissue that's going to die or is dead. And then you have to look at the structure of the wound and see what's going to be best for the proper healing part.
Or that radioactive water that it's certain
There's
places.
that too.
Hey, we've got a question. Can you see that, Chuck?
Found these bandages on that act like stitches. Do you place them over open wounds or little quote? All right. Well, it depends on which one you have. I have some. I wholeheartedly endorse Closix. That's the ones I sell simply because they work the best. There's a lot of ones out there, and a lot of people go, "Oh, this one's cheaper than this one." There's a reason it's cheaper, because it sucks. I've tested every single one I could find, and I have found that Closix holds the best, has the best adhesive, and works the easiest. So I would really caution you first of what you have, because you may use something and they're pretty easy to see, but you're not going to put it directly over the wound. You're going to put the adhesive part on the edges of the wound, just about a centimeter or two away from the edge of the laceration, and then you'll pull it cut. But I would caution you of which ones that you have and to make sure that they work properly, because a lot of them won't hold shut, and then you have a wound that pops back open when it shouldn't. And it won't heal properly, and it'll get infected. Then you get septic and you die.
Who is trying to get on here?
I have no
I don't
idea
know who that is.
I don't know. All right. Who is Linda that's trying to get on here? All right. Keep talking, Chuck. We'll go on. Tell us, kind of give us a rundown and a spiel of what's going to happen with the class. Give us the cliff notes and stuff.
Well, we're going to discuss, number one, the different types of wound, how we're going to disinfect it, how we're going to clean it, and then how we're going to evaluate it. I'm going to show you how to look at flesh, how to evaluate it, the cut, how deep it is, and what the best method for closure is going to be, or whether or not you do close it, or if we're going to do a delayed closure. And delayed closure is that we are going to evaluate. We may have to do some further debridement. There may be other tissue that we suspect that could die or is going to die that we're going to have to remove 24 to 48 hours later. So we're going to evaluate that. We'll initially pack it, and then we'll remove it, clean it, and disinfect the inside of the flesh again, and then close it. And then after that, once we've done all that, we're going to show how we're going to close it from different methods, skin stapling, using the Close-X device, and then how, if we don't have any type of those resources, how to use resources we may have at home to improvise some closure devices that we can use temporarily. And then from that, we're going to how to care for it. There's a lot to it, and it's going to be from the minute the class starts until we end, it's going to be nonstop. It's a lot of information to pack into 4 hours, and it's very hands-on. So you're not going to be doing death by PowerPoint. People who know me know when I teach, I don't use PowerPoint a lot. I like people to drag big TVs down to their shop so I can use them.
Yeah, in our class, he used PowerPoint all of like 10 minutes, and then that was it. We were up doing stuff it was 2 days. We were doing stuff the whole 2 days.
And it took an hour to set the TV up.
I know, right?
It did. But I like it to be hands-on. Adults are tactile learners, and how else are you going to know? How are you going to get the experience and understand the technique unless you're actually doing it hands-on? And I like to take individual attention with each student to make sure they understand the technique and what to do, because this debridement is minor surgical skills. You're going to be using surgical instruments, and you're going to learn how to use these properly and manipulate them to debride the wound properly.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about the different types of closures. We've got Close-X, stitches, and staples. I think I know the easiest to the hardest way, but tell everybody kind of on your medical opinion, the easiest way and then the hardest way to close a wound.
Closing is very easy. It depends on, again, you have to evaluate the wound. If it's a simple laceration, the Close-X device that you would normally use, maybe sutures or maybe even staples, you can use that for. If it's a larger laceration, and again, it comes into evaluating the wound, staples are the easiest thing. And here's the reason. Everybody wants to be cool and suture and do all that, which, yes, it's an art form in itself, but you don't have lidocaine. Do you really want somebody poking a needle? Then for the next suture, poking a needle. You're getting 2 pokes for every suture into your flesh. It's not comfortable. It's not easy. Staples literally take just a few minutes, a few seconds to do. You can put 3 or 4 staples in somebody, and ask Jason, ask Shelly. They've both had them. Shelly Love, she jumped up and knocked people out of the way to be able to go, staple Jason first.
Yes, I did. Testify.
Yeah.
It's a little pinch. A bee sting hurts more than what a staple does. And coming out, and they're very easy to do, easy to teach if you're taught properly and use it properly.
Yeah, and the staples do not hurt. It honestly, I would rather have staples than a bee sting or a wasp sting any day.
Staples aren't used for modernly because it's cosmetic. People don't want scars. They're going to leave a bigger scar than what sutures are. And also, it's just plain and simple. Suturing is a little bit more difficult of a technique or of a treatment form. So guess what? They get to charge more money for it. Now, I'm not saying disregard going to a physician, seek medical advice, but I'm just saying, if you lacerate your head right now and walked into an ER, guess what they're going to use? Staples. Because it's easier on head. You could staple anywhere on the body except hands, feet, and face. So you could use it 90% of the places that you have lacerations.
Well, oh yeah. And Bill, one of the benefits of having tattoos is a couple pokes doesn't hurt as bad as I thought it would.
Well, tattoos and getting sutures, having a larger needle stuck through you, it's a little different. But yeah, you would probably take it better than most.
I don't know.
Yes, Jody, weapons junkie, chicks dig scars. So I'll leave all kinds of scars if you want.
Hey, I've got lidocaine in my bag, so if I've got to get sutures, we're shooting me with lidocaine and doing it that way.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. To do sutures properly, I could teach you a couple, 3 simple sutures, but using lidocaine is not, it's not what you think. You're going around in a little circle around the cut, numbing it. You're doing a nerve block. There's certain areas you have to hit it. That's a technique. My simple suturing class that I teach takes 8 hours, and I don't even get into nerve blocks with that. Nerve blocks would take 3 or 4 days just to do simple stuff. So you're not going to have those resources. The whole point of this class is to teach you advanced wound care with limited resources, because you can't get to conventional medical care. Just like what was going on in North Carolina, just like what was going on in Florida. And these weather events keep happening more and more often, and you're not going to be able to get to conventional care. There's still hospitals and clinics, non-operational, in North Carolina right now. I saw one where Jake Drum is helping stand up a clinic today, and there's clinics going on. These clinics don't have the equipment. Bob Lester was taking oxygen down to him. I was working with him to get supplies and stuff to one clinic that's down there, and they don't have anything. They've got a lot of drugs. They don't have things like oxygen. They don't have things like gauze. They don't have ways and means to close wounds.
Yeah. And I saw that. I saw where Jake Drummond posted that on Facebook, and I'm like, that's awesome. I'm glad, that private citizens and not the federal government are doing things like that.
Well, and that should tell you what's not being done. And they're having to stand up what they expect to be a long-term clinic until recovery is reached. And that's going to be a long time. Some of these may never open up. They may have to build. They're going to have to build from the ground up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, when you've got a building that the patients are standing on top of the roof, that building is at a minimum a total gut job down to the studs, if not doubles down.
Yeah, a hospital that's been flooded like that, even on the first floor or basement or whatever, it's the mold, it's the remediation of that they cannot occupy that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and a lot of people going along with that, they're like, oh, this thing will be done in a couple months. It's going to be going on for years and years down there. So that is, I mean, those makeshift and, portable clinics are going to serve a real good purpose. And that just goes to show that being more medically prepared, I mean, it's just like communications. The ham radio and your communications is not sexy stuff. It's not a new Gucci AR or, a set of nods or something like that. But that stuff, the radio communications and the medical stuff, are what's going to keep you alive. When I was over there with Grindstone, pretty much everybody had guns on their hips, and everybody had a long gun in their truck, most likely. But the thing is, nobody ever had to use that. But we had to use radio communications every day and had to use medical stuff every day. And they're like, if you get a cut, make sure one of the medics cleans it out and it doesn't get worse. It's like, take care of it right now. Don't be Billy Badass and be like, oh, I just got a little cut.
And you have to follow up. The medic needs to reevaluate that and look at that laceration, depending on the severity, a day or two later also. And medical and communication are like this, that you can't have one without the other, because if you're trying to do something, at some point, you're going to run into something where you need some sort of outside help. So you have to have that communication to go in. I teach that in my classes about not nothing like a communication class, but I teach that you need to have radios, and I recommend where to go and get this training, because it's in, because you can also do medicine across the barricade, telehealth, so to speak, where you can talk on the radio. You may have a medical provider that you can describe what you're doing, and what would be even better is if you have, the Starlink, that you could actually do this and talk face to face, and they can see the wound and give you the proper steps to take care of it. I've done it. I've done it many a times remotely that way, of instructing somebody how to provide care. So it's absolutely imperative that you have these things, and that you get the Starlink, the radios, all of it go hand in hand with medical. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing, but it's not fun and it's not sexy. So
it's not. It's not.
So man, I know some of you people
have busting your chops.
Yeah.
Look old. Yeah, you still owe me money.
So I know that some of the people on here have heard me talk about this before, but I want people to understand what they're going to get coming to your class. Now, the class that I attended, it was like what, 2 years ago? Is that when we did that? It's
Yeah,
been
it's coming up,
a
yeah.
couple years. It was a 2-day class. There was a lot of stuff packed into that 2-day class. But since that class, because of the stuff that Chuck taught me in that class, I have saved us 4 ER visits because I knew how to take care of what it was because of the stuff that he taught me. Not to mention, when Randy had knee replacement surgery at the beginning of the year, we had this whole episode with a drain tube that really freaked me out until it kicked in, and I was like, okay, I know how to fix this because Chuck taught me how to fix this. So yes, this is a 4-hour wound care class. I promise you, he will have it packed full of skills that you will be able to take home and use, that you will be, because you may not think, going into doing a 2-day class, I was like, I don't know if I'll ever even use this, because I've had years and years and years of first responder, first aid, CPR classes for my job. I've never, obviously first aid, I put Band-Aids on and all that stuff, but I've never done CPR on somebody. I've only ever done it on a dummy in a class, and I've had several of those classes. So going into Chuck's class, I was like, I don't know that I'll ever use this. I literally have used it, kept us out of the ER 4 different times. You totally will use the stuff that you learned, just like Nicole just said. You will use the stuff that you learn in his class. And when those emergencies pop up, you're going to be sitting there going, I can handle this. I know how to do this.
Well, yeah. How many conversations you had with Nicole on fixing tactical?
Many, but and that's part of it. I give my contact information. I've had many students who, Tim Riley was one. He took my class, and then it wasn't too long afterwards, his daughter had a split her lip, and he sent me a picture of it, and he goes, what do you think? Should we go to the ER? Should I try to close it? Can I do this? And I'm like, no, that needs glue. At her age, it's a clean cut. Take her to the ER. I don't mind doing that. That's part of it's kind of like the alumni thing. You can ask me for stuff. I've had many people do it or call me, hey, I've got this or that. That's fine. I don't care a bit to do it. That's part of it, because once you take one of the classes, you are kind of in the so-called alumni. But I want you to have these skills. And I saw when I started this business, I saw a need. Everybody teaches the cool guy tactical stuff, which I teach also. And you have to have it. You should have that. That's the stuff that'll kill you in 5 minutes or less. But what do you do afterwards? What if you're with that patient 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months? How are you going to take care of them? That tourniquet's got to come off at some point. You've got to do that. So how to do the prolonged care, the remote care with limited resources, and what resources you actually need, what gear you should actually buy. Not, going out and going, well, I'm not sure. I'll just buy this kit because it looks cool. Or these people say I need this. There's a lot of people who are pushing stuff that you'll never use. It's ridiculous. And most importantly is take the training so you know how to use it. It's absolutely important. Right. That's the biggest key. You can have a warehouse full of equipment, but if you don't know how to use it, it's useless.
Yeah.
Jeff will teach you how to use everything that he talks about and everything. He'll have stuff there for you to learn how to use it.
Even an MRI machine.
Yeah, I wish. And each student is going to have the instruments in this class to do it. They're going to have simulators in it. They're going to put staples in. And we always have every class, except my last class, the first time ever, nobody, and that was the suture class, but I also taught staples. Nobody wanted to staple somebody else. Never happened before.
Really?
Never. That's the only time I said, you are a weird group. Usually,
okay. Let me tell you,
here it comes.
If you sign up for Chuck's class tonight, if I get an email that you've signed up for Chuck's class tonight, I will let you staple Jason.
I knew that shit was coming. I saw the little gleam in her eye going, yeah. So.
Well, we actually clean the site, everything. It's not like you just pick up a staple gun and go to town. We sanitize everything you do. But if you volunteer, you want to do it, you're adults. But let me explain something to you. I've literally had 6-year-olds staple their parents and do a good job. I've had kids as young as 6 participate in the class. 8-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. I mean,
Isn't that amazing?
I don't know how many kids I've had in class because I'll allow, parents will ask, hey, my 8-year-old, is it all right if they come and just watch? I said, no, they could come and they could participate because they might be the one who's going to be there to help you when you're by yourself because, you're on a homestead or your farm or whatever. You're probably in a rural area. Do you know how close your carriers, your EMS, your hospital, and in a weather event, can you get to them? Look what's just happened. They're still finding people they didn't know about who needed medical help, and people have died because they couldn't get to conventional medical care for very minor things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeff, if Jeff signs up for the class tonight, he can staple me.
That's right. Anybody that signs up gets to staple you. Anybody.
I'll let you staple me. If you don't want to
There'll
staple,
be like 15 people sign up, and Jason will have.
That's right. We're gonna staple Jason up both arms, both legs, and then my son Chase, who's in here, he always plays the patient in my classes when he's there. So I'll let you staple all over his head. I have absolutely no issue letting you do that.
We're gonna look like that pinhead guy from Hellraiser before.
Oh my gosh.
Jeff, I would trust Jeff to staple me.
Oh, I think Jeff has probably stapled people. He's probably pretty good at it.
Probably
well,
so.
Jeff knows all the things.
I want people to have this knowledge. It's worth the investment. I know it's extra money. I know in this economy things are tight, but I promise you something. Yes, take all the training you can get in all the different subjects, the firearms, the radios, all that. That's all important. But one thing I can guarantee you, you may never have to use that firearm. I hope you don't. But you will, at some point, 100% guaranteed have to use medical, whether it be on yourself or a loved one or somebody on your team or somebody you care about. Just outside of Bowling Green 2 weeks ago, I used a tourniquet on somebody because I saw some guy who passed me on a crotch rocket in between traffic lanes going probably 100 miles an hour. And as soon as he passed me, I said, that idiot's going to kill himself. 10 seconds later, he ended up under a flatbed trailer.
Oh my gosh.
And I got out, thought he was dead, and apparently he wasn't. I had to use a tourniquet on him. But I'm just saying, you'll roll up on things like that. You're going to see things like that where you're going to need medical. And I'm just telling you, these skills, I'm not an expert, but I've done this 30 years. I've done this. I've put staples in people more times than I can remember. I've done it at events when people have injured themselves. I've done it many, many times overseas, different countries around this world. I'm just taking what I've learned in my experience to pass on this skill and knowledge to you so you can be better prepared if you can't seek conventional medical care. And all of this is transferable to livestock. Yeah. I've had many of past students tell me, hey, and I get a picture of a goat or a cow or a sheep. I had one a chicken. That was the first. Yeah, I've had two people with chickens. So they're using this, it's saving you money because it may be something, hey, I could take care of this. I don't need a $3,000 large animal vet bill. I can take care of this simple thing.
Yeah. And then one of the other things, going back to the hurricane stuff, it's all over TikTok. People are putting what they need for supplies. People are asking, of course, for, food, water, heating stuff. But I would say 60% of the time, they're asking for medical supplies, gauze, Band-Aids, disinfectants, stuff like that. So it's stuff that you use every single day, and you will use this stuff. I mean, Chuck said about the tourniquet the other day. I mean, when I was over there with Grindstone, I got half a 2x4 stuck underneath my fingernail unloading some equipment. Of course, I went over to the truck, grabbed my tweezers, pulled it out, rinsed everything out, made sure it was good. Put a Band-Aid on it so it wouldn't get a bunch of trash in it, and kept it fine. But if you didn't have that little bit of equipment in your truck, that might turn in the dirt and stuff we were working in a day or so. That thing can get horribly infected, and then you're going to the emergency room for something bigger. That in 5 minutes I avoided that situation altogether because I knew what to do.
Yeah, and people think you have to have, I mean, it's stuff that I'll teach in class, but this is things I've said publicly, but this is just one part of it. You think you have to have saline or sterile water or whatever. If you can drink it, you can irrigate with it. You can flush with it. It's that simple. And I'm going to teach all those things so you can do proper wound care, even in the field, just like what you did, because it's important. That's where you're going to do a lot of it, where these accidents happen. But it's having that equipment and having that. And I'll have kits for sale at my vendor booth for that. Matter of fact, I'll be right next to wherever Carrie, I think she was in here. I'm pretty sure I saw her. But
yeah, she's in here.
yeah, we're going to be together down there on the end with Grumpy Acres and everything. But all those things, it's important to have these skills, because I'm telling you, you're going to use it. And I've had many people tell me, oh, you, just like what Shelly said, you saved me a trip to the ER because I wasn't sure, but I was able to evaluate the wound and go, no, I don't need to go get stitches for this, or I don't need to have a doctor. I can take care of this. This isn't as bad as what I thought. And many of them have said, if it'd been before I had your class, I would have ran to the hospital and had a large bill and wasted all that time for nothing.
Yeah.
And honestly, taking the class is priced at $200. That's going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than your copay for an emergency room, bottom line. So the first time you don't go to the emergency room, you're money ahead, well ahead on
guaranteed. And take anybody who takes the class, I'm offering this. You're actually going to get my complete homestead medical kit at a discount. If you take the class, I'll tell you what that discount is, but anybody who signs up for a class will get that, or they'll get a discount on one of my kits that I have available there at the festival.
Tell them what all is in that kit.
My complete kit. Good. We don't have enough time. You're not getting just gauze. You're getting boxes of gauze. You get a box of 4x4s, which is 100. A box of 2x2s, which is 100. A box of 5x9 dressings, which is 25. A box of rolled gauze. You're getting a complete IFAC, emergency, all the things that'll kill you in 5 minutes or left, of a tourniquet, chest seals, pressure dressing, wound packing gauze, iPad, eye shield, emergency blankets, and then you're getting all the equipment you need to take care of the wound, any type of wound, from literally Band-Aids to the surgical instruments to do debridement with, and everything else, all the different tools. So everything that I teach in this 4-hour class, you'll know how to use in that complete kit when you're done. Everything that's in it, you'll be able to properly and effectively use it after my class. And all of that is in there. And it's, like I said, it's not just a little bit of stuff. You have stuff for resupply. You have all the instruments, the tools, and a skin stapler, and butterflies, and with a small additional cost, and it's discounted, I'll give you a set of wound closing strips also.
I mean, that's a good. I mean, I've looked at all that before in your kit, and it's a phenomenal kit. I mean, it's got everything you need to treat stuff at your house.
Yeah, it's in a 5-gallon tub, and when I say it's packed full, I literally have to press the lid down to get it to shut on it. It's packed jam full.
Yeah, I want to pick up some Close-X, even though they wouldn't call me back.
They called me back. It's it's on that level of importance, Jason.
I guess so. I'm just gonna tell them I'm a doctor next time, see if they talk to me.
Yeah, I became a distributor for them. I tested their products. I've used it actually in past classes. As a matter of fact, I used it in the class I taught last festival. So, but I've tested them for quite a bit, and they seem to be the best. And I'll use them on any family member, myself, or anybody else I treat, because that's the only thing I carry in my med bags.
Yeah. And Jace is a good place too to get meds. And now Duration Health has popped up too. And then there's another.
Yeah, Duration Health, Contingency Medical, Jace. And I actually talk about that in class, which one, because I've vetted these. I've called, there's other companies doing it, but they don't do it like these other companies. I don't trust their telehealth and what they're doing. And the medications come from Mexico, from China, things like that. These aren't U.S. made, these are generic medications that are made in other countries, and you can't guarantee that, they're not counterfeit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That, or have a good general practitioner.
There's that too. And I explain how to approach your doctor and have discussions with them and other alternatives.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Guys, this class is a good class. If I wasn't going to be busting and doing everything on Friday, I would attend it for sure. So, but I might steal Chuck for half a day after and be like, hey, teach me a few more things.
Oh, you know, I'll come down anytime. Besides, when you say busy, all you're going to do is, I don't know, go ask Shelly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. If anybody has questions while I'm getting stapled, if you have a question, it's go ask Shelly.
Go ask Shelly. That's our standard response with everything.
Everybody came, they're like, Jason told me to come find you. And I'm like, why? What do you need?
It's like, go ask Shelly. She'll know. I forgot to get my shirt that says just go ask Shelly.
That's right. We need to get those.
I'm going to call Greg back.
Yeah, I mean, there's people in here in the comment like Tim Riley. He's taken a couple of my classes. Carrie's actually going to be in the class Friday. You all have taken it. I mean, I really try to give you value for what you're paying. I try to keep the costs down as much as possible because I want you to be able to have this training. I want to get this out to people. I know how it's important. I've been deployed to many, many, many hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, and stuff over the last 30 years. And this is always the case. People die from simple things like a laceration because they didn't know how to properly treat it. And there wasn't, any functional, medical care that they could get to.
Yeah.
And the cost of this class is a no-brainer because the first time that you don't have to go to the ER, you've paid for the class.
Yeah.
It's just a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I mean, the more and more stuff that's popping up, I mean, they just had floods in New Mexico, flash floods there. There's just stuff going all over the country, whether it be man-made or natural. It's not getting any better. We've got all kinds of stuff that's going on every day. So the medical system is not going to get any better by any means. I think it's just going to get worse.
It's going to be more strained.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you look at it like just now out west, the wildfires, there are people cut off. There are people cut off to any type of help. They can't even get air assets in because of the smoke and stuff like that. So you're on your own. You're your own first responder. I know that's the quasi saying, but it's the absolute truth, and have the equipment. You don't have enough gauze, I can promise you. Jason's trying, but he's not quite there yet. You don't realize how much gauze you'll go through just taking care of one wound.
I will have enough gauze when I have to build a new building.
But you have to admit, Jason has more gauze than most.
Jason's very well stocked. I mean, I've looked at every single one. And I'm not going to, break into your security, Jason, but he's much more prepared, well prepared than most people medically, and has quite a debt. But honestly, a few sick people that you have to take care of for a long time, you're going to go through a lot of that. It's going to be depleted.
You go through it quick.
I sell boxes, cases of gauze, and it's cheap. I think a case of rolled gauze, 4-inch rolled gauze, is like $40, $45 on my website. I'm a great businessman. I don't know my prices, but it's like that, and I sell it by the case because it's cheap. How much you'll spend that nowadays for a couple people to go to lunch.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't take much to have that money, and you could save that up and buy those supplies. It's just like having the water, having the, communications, all that. That's one of the things, but you will use a lot of this stuff. And I know people are going to say, well, I can boil rags and do all this. It ain't going to work, folks. You're not ever going to get that bacteria out of that cotton by just boiling it and doing all that. And then I've heard people say, well, I'll bleach it. You go right ahead and clean a wound with bleach and see how well that works out for you. It's necrotic to the skin.
And then also the thing with boiling rags, if we're in this situation, we've already got limited resources. So why are you going to spend your limited resources boiling rags and trying to disinfect them when you could have spent $40 and all you got to do is take your pocket knife and open some packages and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day when they boiled rags as a practice, people died from infection all the time.
Yeah. An infection would kill you. I mean, just plain and simple, that is very easily treatable today.
Yeah. I mean, if a person takes $40 a month, if you don't go out and eat, a couple times a week. I mean, we stopped at Wendy's today and it was $12. So if you don't eat out lunch 4 times a month, you've got $40 that you can spend $40 a month on medical supplies adds up quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a lot with that. A lot of supplies, gauze, Band-Aids. I mean, it's cheap, folks. A lot of this is, yeah, some stuff is expensive, but just that, like you said, $40 a month, whatever, in 2 months' time, you can have a complete IFAC that I sell, fill fac. You can put in any pouch. You know, you save up $60 a month, whatever it is, that's a couple of tourniquets. You know, it doesn't take much to be prepared.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, Jose's getting in here late.
Jose and his wife.
Yeah. But well, I guess we've about beat this sutured horse to death tonight. So, but guys, go to the website. It's KentuckySustainableLiving.com. Look in the to get tickets and drop down for the tickets, and that's where the to sign up for that. And if you sign up, you'll get to staple me. If you can find me, first off. If you can't find me, go ask Shelly, and she will find me somewhere. So,
yeah, sign up, folks.
Yeah,
isn't there a code right now?
Yeah, what's the code for 10% off, Shelly?
Workshops. Workshops 10. Workshops number 10. 10. Workshop. Let me go and look. Just put it on
workshop 10. Yeah, you get 10% off the workshops.
I don't know. Is it just workshop with no S on it?
I don't know.
We're awesome business people.
We are.
We are.
Yeah.
Right now, my brain is going 500 different directions all at the same time. And yeah, it's a joke. Okay. It's workshop, WORKSHOP 10, the number 10. You can get 10% off of your workshop if you use that code.
So right there, that cuts it to $180.
And I'm going to add again. Hold on a minute. Here is the code, or here's the website to order your stuff. What does it say? The new KSL game, staple the tail on Jason. I love it.
And Forrest would know, and Forrest, I will say, we worked together in Puerto Rico when the hurricane wiped everything out there. So he can attest to how important having this and how little resources are. I mean, Forrest is a great guy. He's a medical provider. He could tell you, he's somebody he can tell you how important these skills are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with printing off some tails that you can staple on Jason.
Well, we could. That'd be the whole fun for the weekend. I'll give you a staple gun. You can run after it if you can get Jason stapled with a tail on him. But when he doesn't notice, I'll give you a free staple gun.
Or maybe we can staple a gun or a paper to his back that says "kick me" and make him wear it around.
There you go.
That goes back to what Forrest said last night, that you need permission or a license to speak. Forrest just proved his point. So
yeah, for you new people coming in, if you sign up for Chuck's medical class tonight, if I get notification that you signed up tonight, you get to staple Jason at the class.
And 10% off too.
And 10% off with Workshop 10.
And everybody that takes the class will be leaving with something. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's going to be a piece of medical gear. No, it's not going to be some cheap piece of crap. But you're going to be leaving, going home with something that you can use and that you should have.
Awesome.
And
Awesome. Okay, so festival website, KentuckySustainableLiving.com. I put the link to the workshops in the chat right there. You can see it. It's the last comment on there right now. But any information about the festival, KentuckySustainableLiving.com. If you go and order your tickets in advance, you can get them for $25 with email 25 as the coupon code. That's email 25. You can buy them at the door, but you're going to pay $35 a person at the door. Kids 17 and under get in free. All of our speakers are on the website, all of that stuff. Go check it out. We want to see you this weekend. Y'all, this world is crazy. Come and listen to our speakers, learn some skills, get the knowledge that you need to get away from being reliant on all of the other systems out there. Okay.
Because honestly, the time is now to do it. I mean, if everybody's freaked out about what's going to happen after the election, if you're really that freaked out, you need to spend your money and come to this festival and come to the training classes. If you're serious about it, get up off the couch and do it. Because if you're like, oh, it's going to go to hell in a handbasket, your money's probably not going to be good. So why not go ahead and spend it and get the training right now?
You can, for the money, the information alone that you can receive for the 2 days, and the people who are delivering the information, it covers every spectrum. Not only from security, self-defense, permaculture, homesteading, farming, whatever it is, it's all there, including the vendors. Then you can go buy the equipment. It's all going to be under one building, under one roof. And with these workshops, you can have all this. You take mine, and in the afternoon, you can actually take a medicinal medicine course, a herbal medicine course, which she's going to tell you which medicinal herbs there are to use that's going to tie in, that also has antibiotic qualities to them.
Yep.
So this class and mine is going to tie in together.
Leslie's actually going to be teaching how to build your herbal apothecary.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Leslie's a ton of knowledge about it. Ton of knowledge. Max carries a tourniquet every day. We even had sweatshirts and t-shirts made that said so. Well, Max did. I was actually wearing one yesterday.
Crap, yeah.
Quit hitting it.
All right, I won't hit anything else. I'll just sit here.
Thank you. You're making me crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Randall about the grafting stuff. The whole grafting deal, you can, make your own stinking trees and cut lows and the nurseries out.
Well, there's going to be an expert
that I don't have.
Yeah, there's somebody to network with. You want to learn about that? Tim's an absolute expert at it. He knows what he's doing. He can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just other people you can meet. It's the networking too. That alone is 10 times worth the value of the ticket just to get in. The people that you'll network with.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and honestly, what William's doing with the compost, that's worth $100 right there off the bat. Honestly,
and that's included in the cost of the ticket. So, the chicken processing, that's included in the cost of the ticket. There's so many skills that you just need to come, y'all.
Well, you get to see Forrest. You'll get wherever Carrie went. You'll get to see her in her booth, the stuff that she's selling. There's so many people that's going to be there that you get to meet and network with. I don't know how you could not come. And any associated expense with it is going to be one heck of an investment that'll pay off itself in no time.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I think we've about done it for the night, guys. We appreciate y'all being on here. Go to the website, check it out, get your tickets. If you're serious about this stuff, buy some tickets and come to the workshops. You will not be disappointed in those whatsoever. And we appreciate it. And Chuck, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you all, as always.
And I'll see you in probably 48 hours, I would say.
Yeah, Les. I'll be there Thursday morning.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
y'all
guys.
take care.
We will see you this weekend. Goodbye.
Bye.
See you later.